Hi, welcome along to another training design top tip. This time I want to talk to you about capturing your ideas and starting the whole design process. Now, if you know me at all, if you've followed me, if you've been a member of the VIP group for a while now, you will know that I don't recommend starting in PowerPoint. Now, that's not to say you must never do it because, we're all grown-ups here, and if that really works for you, then who am I to say that you shouldn't do it? But I do think PowerPoint has its limitations. It leads us down a path and it makes us be overly reliant, I think, on the slides if that's where we start our design process. And it also means that you're struggling. If all your notes are underneath your slides, it can be quite difficult to move away from those slides. However, I was having a conversation with one of our VIP members who said they prefer to use PowerPoint to Word because they're much more of a visual person. So they rely very much on the photos, on the pictures and on the diagrams to really help them shape their thinking. And that made me start to think about, well, at the start of the design process, how else can we really start to scope out our ideas, to capture our ideas? If you've done my courses, you'll know that I do advocate a number of ways, but I'm going to go through 7 of them right now, and I'm sure between us we can probably come up with another 3 to make it a wonderful top 10. So here we go. So the first thing that I would always advocate is using post-it notes. Brainstorm all your ideas onto post-it notes, get them all down there, and then you can start to see which ones fit together and to start to create some sort of order. The second method that I use a lot is a mind map. You just put your topic in the middle and you just chuck out all your ideas all around it, and then if you wanted to, you can then start to allocate times to them. You can then start to draw in arrows as to what links to what and the flow that they might go on. So I find those 2 particularly useful, and they're the ones that I use the most. You can, of course, just make a list. There's nothing wrong with making a list of ideas. They are not set in stone. You can cross them out, you can reorder them, and that's a really quick way of getting your ideas down as well. And particularly those of you who are of an Excel persuasion, I'm sure there are lots of things that you can do with categories and colour coding that will help you work that list into something that's very manageable. You can create a flow chart. I'm just looking at my notes here because I'm trying to do them into some sort of order. So a little bit of a move on from the list. If you think quite sequentially, you could just do a very rough flow chart as to what you would cover and in what order, and then you can think about, well, how would you expand each of those sections, how much time would you allocate to them, and that will give you a useful starting point. But what if you are more visual? Well, a flowchart and a mind map might work well for you, but here's something: why don't you create a vision board? So if you are very visually orientated, if you really get inspiration from pictures and things like that, why not either physically create a vision board or just go and search for some pictures, some diagrams, some photos, some quotes even that really inspire you and will fit into your training design. And you can use that as your guiding light as you go around designing your training. You can create a word cloud, and that's something else that we can do. There's lots and lots of software out there. You can use something like Poll Everywhere if you wanted, and Mentimeter can also be used just to create a lovely word cloud. Particularly if you're having ideas over a period of time, you'll start to see which ideas come to you more often than not, and that's giving you some sort of clue as to what's going to be your core content. And the other thing that you could do, and this is brilliant, I think, if you like to capture your ideas or if you're more of an auditory persuasion, is just to record your ideas. Make a verbal note. Tell yourself a story of what's going to happen in this training session, how people are going to be transformed, what is going to be the biggest takeaways for them, how are they really going to make a difference having attended your course. So just hit that record button on your phone, leave yourself that verbal note, and then you can listen back to it and start to unjumble all of the thoughts that you've had. So that's my tip for this week. I'm just going to recap the 7 just to make sure I have actually covered all 7. Post-it notes, a mind map, a bullet pointed list, a word cloud, a vision board, and a verbal note. So if you think of any other ways that we can begin our training design journey, just let me know and we can add them to this post. So that's it for now. I hope you're having a fantastic day and I will see you soon.